Good advice.
Okay, I wasn't. I'm not very good with like phrases. So
Well, that's okay. I'll try to keep them less arcane. All right, so we're setting up back behind us. Why don't you go ahead and get set up as well, and we'll get started.
am I soloing? All right, that's fine. I'll solo.
All right, we're just getting things lined up here. We've got our first match coming up. We've got Gamer Sensei, pro coaches, coaching attendees at this year's BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, before we start, can we have everybody introduce themselves? We have contestant number 1 over here.
Hi, I'm Dewey.
Hello, Dewey. How are you? Are you excited?
Oh yeah, very excited.
Awesome, and you're awesome coach over here.
Gallon 2 and 3.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about some of your accomplishments.
So I've hit legend several dozen times throughout my Hearthstone career, and my highest tournament placing was 9th at spring preliminaries. From there, I've mainly just been helping people in BlizzCon, so I've been main practice partners with Sidonia and Hot Meowth, so hopefully they do well at BlizzCon.
So you're someone with a lot of experience in the game as well as in coaching.
Yes.
Awesome. Very, very qualified young man here. And we'll have FKI Shadow over there introduce the other team.
Yes. Tell us a bit about yourself. The court is really
Oh, yeah. Been playing since the launch of BRM. Really like the game. Playing on both sides of the ladder. I've hit legend on standard twice. Actually, and wild only once. I was 5 stars away from actually hitting double legend. Legend on both sides of the ladder in the same season, which was pretty fun. But really enjoy the game and looking forward to getting some additional insight from the coach today.
And your coach today is Deathalor. Tell us a bit about yourself, man.
Oh, hey guys. So I've been playing the game since beta. I've been coaching for the past 2 years. I'm mostly a tournament player. I've been in several tournaments like DreamHacks, Chinfinity, AZO, and so on. And yeah, I also recently went 9-0 in DreamHack in Valencia. And yeah, I'm here just to beat the other team, along with my buddy. So yeah, expect a lot from us.
Yeah, can we like do something like? All right, this is good. It's perfect. All right, so we are giving the coaches and participants a couple minutes over here to set up some deck lists for you guys, and it'll be a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of decks that are actually played right now in the BlizzCon, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it looks like Gallon's doing a little bit of final touches to the deck building. He's got 27 out of 30 of his cards built right now. What's the one card?
see a lot of tech cards, actually. Stampeding Kodo, do you play that in your Paladin?
It definitely has its uses. It's something that it was once a lot more popular, but it's rotated out a little bit. But in Control Paladin, I would say that 1 or 2 is fairly standard.
I think there's no curator, or... Okay, it's. I thought with the Stampeding Kodo we're gonna see a curator, but there's no curator actually.
Yeah, it's just straight up going to be N'Zoth control. You typically don't run Curator unless it's Murloc, and you also need to run Azure Drake to make that package worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah.
What are we doing? Like, what is it? How many matches are we playing? Just play for the hour best of 3. Play for an hour. Play for the hour. All right, so it looks like we are actually going to be playing best of 3s for the hour. We'll be playing as many best of 3s as we can fit into 1 hour, and yeah. I mean, do you guys both have your decks ready? Okay, Gallon's ready.
Ready?
All right, and Deathlord's ready. So let's begin. Players are getting into the challenge screens right now, and the queues are about to happen. So it looks like Gallon over here is going to be starting off with some Control Paladin. Now, Control Paladin's actually a very underrepresented deck right now on ladder, and at BlizzCon even, only one player brought it, Hamster, the Chinese player. He was the only player to have brought Paladin, so very underrepresented. And we have Team Deathlore over here. They are starting off with Mage. As I'm standing right here, and both of them can hear me, I'll try not to reveal too much about their hands, but it will be tough. So bear with players a unfair advantage. So both players right now have, I would say Gallon has a bit of an edge in the starting hand here. Deathlore's starting hand as a Tempo Mage, not necessarily where he wants it to be. Doesn't have a minion to play on turn 1, no turn 1 Mana Worm, nor Babbling Book. Those are usually the cards you want to drop on turn 1. But Gallon's considering coining out one of his 2 drops, decides not to, and that is perfectly reasonable. Deathlore over here, just going to ping face. Again, very, very slow start from him. Tempo Mage usually has to be somewhat aggressive to have a decent chance of winning this match. And Gallon over here instructing his student here on kind of the importance of the coin and how they should plan out using the coin this match, because it's not going to be too obvious, I don't think. Deathlore's hand Still not getting too much board action right now. He is going to spend the turn Arcane Intellecting to draw 2 cards. Team Gallon going to go ahead and develop pretty well here. Loot Hoarder into Acolyte. So with Control Paladin, this is kind of the start you want. You want your draw cards, and you just want to play them out on curve like this. And he's going to be, he's going to want to be curving into his Death Rattle minions, and then eventually hit that N'Zoth for the huge swing turn where you get all your Death Rattle minions back. Deathlord here, kind of talking over some of the points of playing the Babbling Book, kind of considering things that they could possibly get. He does get that card, and it's actually one of the better cards that you can get from Babbling Book. Not everybody can be as lucky as Pavel when it comes to Babbling Books. If you guys watched BlizzCon today, those Babbling Books were insane. They made me want to play Babbling Book in my decks, even though I'm not that much of a fan of them. But sometimes they are extremely good. Sometimes they're about average, like now, and then sometimes they're not up to par with what you want. Team Gallon over here, their curve this game has been pretty good. They're going to go ahead and trade the Loot Hoarder into the Babbling Book just to see what they draw first. The Loot Hoarder going face for 2, yeah, I could have done that, but the damage, it usually isn't relevant as Control Paladin is the more defensive deck. So going face doesn't really make that much sense because you're playing for the long game, and drawing a card with that Loot Hoarder could change their play for this turn and give them a better play. And they're kind of discussing over here which of these. They actually do have a lot of options. I would say there's probably like 3 main options here. They are going to go with the Elise Starseeker. The Elise Starseeker in Control Paladin, what this card does is, versus in some matchups where you have cards that might be dead, for example, Forbidden Healing. In this matchup, Forbidden Healing is pretty good, but versus control decks, it turns your Forbidden Healing into legendaries later in the game when they go unused. So, pretty good. They're going to go ahead and play it now over the other options. Deathlord over here has a lot of cards in hand for a Tempo Mage. They've got 8 cards in hand, and whenever you have this many cards in hand, there's always going to be a multitude of options. There's always going to be something to think about. And deciding whether to go off with a Flamewaker here, it looks like they are going to decide to go off with the Flamewaker, and Image is going to come out. Are they going to use another spell here? No, they decide to not use another spell. Team Gallon is going to have a really good response to this. They're going to go ahead and play out that Consecrate, which will kill off the mirror images and will allow the Elise to trade into the Flamewaker. So a pretty huge threat here negated. And Gallon talking about the merits of coining out the Doomsayer here, which all very valid points. So essentially, even though you're ahead on board and you have the Elise, you want to deny your opponent the tempo of this turn. So essentially, Deathlord facing a Doomsayer is going to, if he doesn't have, he actually ends up having an Arcane Intellect, so he's able to use his mana. But if he didn't have the Arcane Intellect, he'd probably just spending his turn pinging his opponent's face and not really getting anything done. Now, Deathlord does have the option of setting up a certain card of his. They're talking it over. And then they're trying to best plan out their future turns. They are going to decide to go ahead and just ping the face, though. And Galen's Doomsayer is going to go off here and give him an empty board in which he can develop freely whatever he wants to. It's probably going to be the card second from the right there. Yes, the Karen Bloodhoof coming down. On an empty board, really, really big turn here for Galen because Team Galen had the stabilizing cards, was able to get down a monster drop, the Karen Bloodhoof on an empty board, and it's going to be really hard for Tempo Mage to kind of reclaim the board after this. And Tempo Mage really does need that early and mid-game board control in order to win this match. Team Deathlore with 10 cards in hand this turn. Yeah, it is going to be a pretty well thought out turn here. They are going to play the Apprentice, the Flamewaker. This is going to be a pretty huge turn here. Set up the Mirror Entity first. Oh, I'm sorry. Now they know what secret it is, but how much do they want to commit to this Flamewaker? They do have a lot of spells. They are going to go for them. And those missiles didn't... well, actually, in that spot, you actually do want to go face, because at this point, your best chance of winning is actually just by sending all of your damage directly to the face and win that way. You're not going to win. You're not going to reclaim the board against the Karen Bloodhoof. So it's going to be really, really tough for them to take the board control line. So going all face, not that bad there. But as you can see, this Karen Bloodhoof doing work. It's going to be able to clear out the Source Apprentice, and then Kodo gets a free kill on the Flamewaker. It will get Mirror Entity'd. However, once again, Galen is taking full control of this game here. Team Deathlore, very, very behind here. They are, you would consider them the aggressive deck in this matchup, and they, just haven't had an opportunity to have a lead in the board. And usually, when the control deck has this much stability, the game is typically just the control deck can just typically grind out the opponent, and then also, even if you do try, Ragnaros does go face though, and Galen reassuring his students that they are fine. They do have very, very good answers to this Ragnaros, and they're gonna decide what they want to do here.
As little damage as possible.
I would humiliate the Ragnaros, play the True Silver. Well, okay, so hit there, play Wild Pyromancer, and humiliate him, and then hit him with. Oh,
it's okay.
I would hit him with this.
Okay, so we did actually lose out on the chance of doing that. However, we still have a pretty good clear here, so we're gonna do the same line. So hit the 4-1 in. Hit the right there, yeah. Now all you need to do is Wild Pyromancer and Humility. Wild Pyromancer and Humility. There you go. And you get a free board clear. Or at least on the one.
All right, so talking that playthrough, even though the student did make a mistake of hero powering without meaning to, Galen saves the day and finds a line that still ends up clearing the Ragnaros, and they do resolve the Ragnaros. However, this does actually give Deathlore a one-turn window to burst him down. However, it does not look like they have the burst to do so. Oh, is that Mike? Well, they are going to go ahead and play the Colt Sorcerer and then Flame Strike. So actually, in this instance, Deathlord does manage to reclaim the board. And so the repetitive damage from these minions could actually end up sealing the game.
Sorry? Oh, right now all we're going to do is we're going to just play a weapon, try to start contesting the board a little bit with our own hero, with our own weapon, and then just Forbidden Healing to kind of get out of that one-turn kill range. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit the 3-2.
Gallon expertly explaining the strategy here. Yeah, they are going to do some board clearing, and they are going to go ahead and end their turn.
So I think Babbling Book here is going to be our first option. We can see what it comes out with and play into more options.
Yes, and we will probably go Firelands Portal after the Babbling Book if we don't get anything too great.
All right, Babbling Book coming out here. What's going to happen? You can see their reaction. They're not really that happy with the. They're hoping for a Doomguard out of this Firelands Portal. Didn't get it. That's not actually a bad minion. That's a pretty good minion. Yeah, they are going to go ahead and ping face and do as much damage as possible.
So what's your strategy here?
I'd probably play with the board that's up there. I would probably play the Tauren. We have to get rid of that somehow. And if I still have a decent amount of mana, I'd probably heal.
So I like the strategy of wanting to clear his board and also like protect yourself. However, we really don't have the resources to both deal with that, play a Tauren, and also get out of lethal range. So while it feels pretty bad, we're going to have to kill the 3/3, play an Infested Tauren, and then just Forbidden Healing our face.
And they are going to do as much as they can to resolve this board and as well as heal, getting themselves out of burn range from potential fireballs and frostbolts. They are up to 21 health, so they will be safe from the burn. But they are still going to have trouble dealing with the 5/6 minion here.
Yeah, at this point we have to be extremely aggressive because we have seen all the heal from our opponent. And we're going to go for Thalnos, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles. We want to cycle Thalnos now and just try to get as much damage as possible to finish the game in the next 2 turns.
All right, game plan over here for Deathlore is going to be try to use these Arcane Blasts to clear the board. And this Arcane Missiles, they can decide to blast the slime token here, and that way send 4 damage to the face with missiles. But looks like that's what they're deciding to do. I definitely do agree with this. They definitely need to push as much face damage as possible here. And the only way they really win this game, although on the positive side, Team Deathlore has already seen 2 heals out of Gallon. So this play does make a lot of sense. You want to spend as much damage to the face as possible.
All right, so we should probably go here and then here, or because that'll clear their entire board, and then we would have to hero power.
I actually really like that line. So right now, what's going to happen is they need to kill us through burn or through minions, right? So if we quality consecrate here, we can actually establish a board of our own by playing Wild Pyromancer and hero power after that. So we now have a 3/2 and a 1/1. That will contest Mana Worm, I think second Cult Sorcerer, second Young Pyromancer. So I actually like that play.
All right, Gallon finds the line that not only clears the board, but also develops 2 pretty weak but still significant minions in this spot. And they are going to take back the board.
Okay, so our opponent is out of cards, and he's in a low HP total too, so I'm really happy about it. I think we got this game. And we got the Drake finally, so we play it.
Now I think
I think I would go all in and just play Mana Worm, Cult Sorcerer, and then just use Arcane Blast. Because our opponent just has one card left, so we can just go all in at this point. And yeah. Yeah, I just Arcane Blast that down.
Really strong turn from Deathlore here. They are going to retake the initiative, and again, Galen's already used 2 of his heals, so it's going to be really hard for them to heal anymore, and unless they draw Ragnaros the Light Lord, that might be the only way here. But if there is no more healing, Deathlore actually has lethal on board here. 9 damage plus the hero power is 10, and so Team Galen gonna drop game 1 here. Team Deathlore takes a 1-0 lead in the series. Well played by both teams, but I mean, Team Deathlore here. Team Deathlore here. Okay, Team Deathlore here. Play the match where they knew that they had to send as much damage face as possible. They had that one turn where they had 3 Arcane Blasts in hand, and they decided to send all of the Arcane Missiles damage face. Now, tell me a little bit about that play.
Yeah, so basically we had the Thalnos on board, so I was expecting my opponent to go for a board clear, but if he went for a board clear, he's at 10. So essentially, if I draw, I have 2 draws. So if I draw like a Fireball Frostball, it's lethal. Double Fireball is also lethal. And I wanted to also pressure him with a possible Fairlands Portal. So essentially, I put my opponent into a very tough spot. So he's always like forced to react, and he never gets the time to recover and get the board presence back.
Yeah, that was a really good turnaround game. Was there anything that you learned in that game?
One thing that Deathlore was talking to me about was always prioritizing order of operations and creation of additional options at the head of the turn. And that's why you saw us constantly taking Babbling Books early, taking Azure Drake as the lead, prioritizing the Arcane Intellect. And that was to buy kind of richness in our hand to make additional options. Our open didn't have a lot of early minions to create pressure, so we had to hope to create like additional value and pressure in the mid game and push it through late game.
Well played by Team Deathlore. We are going to go into a quick commercial break and then into another game after that. Welcome back, Hearthstone fans, to the Newegg booth here at BlizzCon. We were having a Gamer Sensei exhibition match where we have 2 students being coached by very, very experienced Gamer Sensei coaches. We just saw a first game where Team Deathlore took a win on the Tempo Mage versus Control Paladin. They're actually deciding to go back into the same matchup, see if the students can apply the principles that they learned the last game and improve on their play this game. Both teams are discussing their mulligan decisions at the moment. Mulliganing is actually one of the skills that I think a lot of players don't spend enough time on. It's definitely a weakness that I found in a lot of players who are struggling to get legend. They're actually making a decent number of mulligan mistakes, and they're not even aware of it. So it's definitely important to get the mulligan part down. So Deathlore going to pass turn 1 here, going first. And also Team Gallon going to pass turn 1, going second as well.
So here we're going with our plan that we talked about during the mulligan, why we prioritize these 2 cards, and hoping that we're able to dodge one of the answers to it.
Yeah, so we have a secret plan, and we're going to talk about it in a...
All right, they have a secret plan, guys.
All right, well, I plan on going with Doomsayer just to counter anything, because he can't get rid of it, and it'll get rid of his minion.
And so the thing about Cult Sorcerer is that there are a couple of spells in Tempo Mage that can deal with it pretty effectively, especially with the 3/2 body. However, if he's using those spells instead of developing a minion, it's actually really good for us because we have a really strong turn 4 play that we can use with coin.
So this is one of the situations we were hoping to play into. We knew that it had loot hoarder, so ultimately the Cult Sorcerer was going to be very weak into that, but also we had an answer into Doomsayer in case that came out. And so we were fortunate to find ourselves in this position. Do you want to push additional aggression here? I think we passed.
Yeah, we definitely pass. That was actually our thought process behind keeping Cult Sorcerer and Arcane Blast, since the Paladin is not running the War Leader, so the 3/2 is not weak to any cards, except maybe Consecration, but that doesn't come before turn 4, so I'm pretty confident in playing that.
Very strong developmental turn there for Deathlore, able to deal with Doomsayer and develop a pretty strong Mana Worm.
Yeah, you can pull the Mana Worm. Here you go.
Well, I coined out True Silver to get rid of the Mana Worm so he can't use any more spells and keep adding on to the damage that I will receive.
Paladin trying to mitigate as much damage here as possible. Definitely has the control deck. That is usually what you do.
On 4, we're going to play our 4th. Solid.
Play Water Elemental on 4. Very strong card against Paladin. Paladin is a weapon-based class. As you do see, they do have the True Silver equipped, but he will be able to use it before he gets frozen.
All right, so I'm playing a Barnes right now. I got a lot of really higher level cards in my deck, so if it brings out one of them, that would be very, very helpful for me.
All right, Barnes coming out on turn 4. Pretty standard. And they are going to have to decide what they want to do with the weapon. They probably want to hit it into the Cult Sorcerer. There is a water element on board, so you don't really want to get frozen. You want to use your weapon before you get frozen.
So right now, our opponent correctly uses the weapon to kill that, because, I mean, we're going to freeze his face consistently from that point. I think we're going to take a more passive approach here and using the Arcane Intellect. I think we both agreed on this beforehand. And yeah, just use our mana efficiently, ping the 1/1 and freeze his face, because trading at this point doesn't achieve much.
All right, Deathlore being a little bit conservative with his resources there, but I do agree with his plan there.
So there's a couple options here. There are a couple options here. The first one that sticks out to me is Infested Tauren. However, it doesn't really do much. The problem is that he has so many spells in hand that he obviously has some way of clearing our minions, especially with Ping, and then if he has Flame Waker. So I actually really like going Solemn Vigil here, trying to find maybe a Wild Pyromancer or another card that we can combo. We can also find Healing and maybe a solid 6-drop to play on turn 6. So we're going to go Solemn Vigil. All
right, Team Gallon going to go with a pretty greedy line of play. They could have developed a minion, but they decided not to develop a minion and draw cards instead. Definitely an interesting consideration. I could go both ways on that, but I do think their plan makes a lot of sense here.
So yeah, right now we're presented with a lot of options. We can intellect, right? But I don't like it because I don't feel that you can get anything that you will play on the spot. I think, I'm not sure, like, because you're going to have 3 mana remaining. And the best thing you can do is like Frostbolt. So let's play the Bubbling first. Yeah, this is like trying to play what you're looking for. Like try to think what you're exactly looking for. Yes, I think it's time to AI now though. Because I mean, if you play Bubbling Book, you're in danger of just not getting anything. Oh, yes, I think I like just freezing that and going face. Yeah, it's just a very good use of our resources.
All right, Team Deathler going to town with that Water Elemental. It's done a lot of damage, and it's also done a lot of freezing to the face.
All right, so what I was thinking about playing was Wild Pyromancer and Equality because it'll clear the board, and that'll just give us more options so he doesn't have any more, and he'll get rid of his freeze.
I'm actually not dead set on this turn yet. I need a couple more seconds just because of how many plays we can have. Obviously, Wild Pyromancer Equality is pretty good, and we can follow it up with Solemn Vigil. However, the problem is that we're going to only be on 1 mana, which means if we get Doomsayer, which is probably the best card that we could find here, we wouldn't be able to play it this turn. So it makes sense. I do think Wild Pyromancer Equality, Solemn Vigil is a good play. So I actually would do that here. However, we're just going to setting up.
All right, Team Gallon is going to try to clear the board here. The Solemn Vigil is going to be reduced to 1, and they are going to draw with it. And this is typically, you don't really want to be Solemn Vigiling for more than 2 usually, and that's pretty good value on a draw 2 spell.
So what we were talking about is, up until he took the board there, we felt like we were ahead in advantage, and we didn't want to take too much of the board. We were just going to play out a small amount, looking for those sleepers, not hoping to play into them. Now we're going to take a slightly more aggressive approach, hoping that he's depleted his hand of sufficient answers to deal with our next envoy.
Yeah, also some more advanced commentary. We have a lot of information about our opponent's hand. In particular, we know that our opponent probably has no Consecration, at least in the first cards, because he was presented with an awesome chance to use the card and he didn't. And we have seen 1 Wild Pyromancer being played and 1 being summoned by Barnes. So there's a pretty good chance he doesn't have the second board clear, not only based on statistics, but also based on info we have over his hand.
Double Flamewaker Arcane Missiles is going to send a lot of damage to Gallon's face, and it's going to be very, very hard for them to deal with this pressure.
We're definitely playing True Silver here. We can kill 1, and then from there we can decide what next to do. I'm leaning a little bit more to Forbidden Healing just because double Fireball, 1 second, sorry, 12, 16, still doesn't kill us. He would need to have some other way of dealing damage. Double Fireball here would actually just be 1 off lethal, and we can actually follow it up with hitting the Flamewaker and playing Rag and not hitting the Flamewaker and going back to 9. So I actually really like Forbidding Healing our face and just killing a Flamewaker here.
All right, Gallon doing what they can to weather this turn so that they can live it out to next turn where they'll have a very, very good play.
Yeah, so basically, we can get lethal this turn if we get lucky with our Bubbling Book, and the Apprentice is going to actually reduce the mana cost of 3 spells, so it's going to allow for more possible lethals. Do we decide to play the card? I think here it's time to pull the trigger. I would play the Apprentice as well because it's just a free roll. You can play her for 0 mana essentially, since you can play 2 spells. So it's like free rolling, and I definitely want a free roll here because our opponent will either play an 8-drop or will clear the board, and we're happy in both cases. And that's why we have to be super aggressive right now and hope to finish the game in turn 8.
very strong turn here from Team Deathlord. Going to set Gallon down to 1, and I don't know if he can come back from this.
So one thing that's a really heads-up play right here is that we're actually going to heal from True Silver before we can attack into the Flame Waker. So we'll actually be able to survive attacking a Flame Waker here. So we'll go back to 1. We play Ragnaros, we go to 9, and he needs a second kill. He needs a second burn spell to actually kill us here. So I believe just hitting into the Flame Waker and then playing Ragnaros should be okay as long as he has no burn.
Gallon does find the line, which does allow him to survive here. And they are going to execute on this. They're going to kill the Flame Waker and then play Ragnaros the Light Lord in order to heal back to 9. And, well, Deathlord does have 4 on board, plus 1 with the hero power, so 5 damage on board. Let's see if they can pull out a win here.
It's a portal. Come on. That's good.
Drake's good.
That's good.
We're gonna Drake.
And we're playing Freeze Mage now, so yes.
So
This is 5 plus 4. How much is it?
oh jeez, feels good.
Guys, we're learning to count here. We're learning to count. And Team Deathlord takes the match once again. This time, though, they actually had a really, really good hand to start with. It was like a different game than it was last game. Last game, you had a very slow start. You had a lot of draw. You ended up drawing a lot of cards. That's a game where Tempo Mage had 10 cards in hand at one point, and you had to go through all of them. But this time, it was a little bit faster. You had a faster start. We are going to go into a quick commercial break, and then we will come back for some comments.
The toughness, the scalability, the agility. Get ready to lead the pack. The Iron Wolf family adds agility to your NAS system.
Athletes aren't just born. They're molded from the core. A core of strength. A core of laser focus. A core that can handle anything. A core that sweats the small stuff. A core that's the difference maker. Game changer, world shocker. You see, hard work makes the athlete. But the edge of a Core i7 processor makes you unstoppable.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg booth here at BlizzCon, where we are having a Gamer Sensei exhibition match between 2 students who are paired with coaches from Gamer Sensei, very experienced coaches, coaching them in Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. And we just saw Team Gallon here lose 2 games in a row. What do you guys think went wrong in those 2 games?
Well, the first game I definitely blew it by hero powering. But the second game, I just feel like our draw wasn't the best.
We are definitely playing a very slow deck that relies on having a certain sequence of cards to really win games versus decks like Tempo Mage. And while we did draw a few of the cards that we needed, we didn't draw all of them. And that's kind of where this deck suffers versus decks like Tempo Mage.
Yeah, definitely. Was there anything that even though you lost it, did you learn anything in particular that you want to share?
Yeah, I learned. Actually, he's taught me a lot about, especially just how to play, just smart use of the mana, and the equality pyromancer was a big one.
Okay, definitely learning some of the combinations of that deck. We are going to go into a third game here. They're both going to be playing completely fresh decks. And it looks like Galen's going to be playing Hunter. He's going to be playing Secret Hunter, which Secret Hunter is like a pretty good deck right now. I don't know if I would say it's tier 1, but it's definitely top of tier 2, if not tier 1. And we do have Malygos Druid from Team Deathlore here. And this deck is actually pretty tough to pilot sometimes. So it'll be interesting to see how he, actually, yeah, it will be very interesting to see how he communicates his thought process to the student here. And in fact, there might be so much communication that I don't know if they'll even be able to finish out their turns necessarily, because there is actually a lot of analysis that you can do.
Yeah, so we have Wild Growth on 2, so we Wild Growth. I mean, there's another line, but I mean, you have to use Wild Growth sometime anyways, so it's better to use it the earliest possible, so you just give yourself more options for the following turns.
Yeah, Druid definitely usually wants to Wild Growth on turn 2.
So we have a pretty good play versus Druid. We're playing a Secret on 2 into an active Secret Keeper. It's kind of awkward for them to clear it, especially depending on what Secret that we have set up.
Definitely a strong start from the Hunter here. Actually, both teams with really good starts. Secret Keeper and a Secret versus Wild Growth from the Druid. So it's actually a very, very, a game where both players are drawing pretty well.
Catrick? Yeah, so here we're presented with two options. We can play the Jungle Moonkin, which is weak to snipe, but I don't really expect a snipe from a Face Hunter. And expect its face because he's playing Secret Keepers. And we could even Living Roots, but I don't like Living Roots because it's very weak against Snake Trap and against Cat Trick. And these secrets are very common in the aggressive variant right now.
Again, we have a couple options. This is actually a very interesting turn because usually people will not play a Jungle Moonkin against you on turn 4. So the first two that really strike me as being good are either Coin Infested Wolf or Eaglehorn Bow. Now, with the secret we have set up, and the fact that he is like really playing into our secrets, I feel like Bow might just be slightly better. The only problem is we don't really have a target to use it for. So in a sense, even though Bow's really good, just playing to board, playing Infested Wolf here is probably the correct line.
Team Gallon debating between the develop the minion play or develop the weapon, and they are going to go ahead and play the Wolf. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about it. It gives me a card on the field, and it has a death rattle, so it has more for him to work to clear.
All right, good analysis, good analysis. Team Deathlore here looks like, you know, they do have that Moonkin up, so they can use that spell power if they want to.
Actually, so our thought process was that this trap could be probably a Catrick or a Snake, but it's very possibly it's a freezing trap. But at this point, since we have the Drake on curve, we don't really care about the Jungle Moonkin getting frozen. So we go on and develop the Drake. But yeah, the top deck Moonkin just gives us the opportunity to Moonfire the... yeah, let's go for that. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I was trying to play around... Actually, no. I think now it's probably Catrick. So I would not do that, because if you play that, you're going to give your opponent a 4-2. Yeah. I would save it.
There's actually a lot of consideration when it comes to playing around Hunter traps. So can you tell me a little bit about how you were approaching the traps?
So they were wondering if it was freezing, and I moved a little fast. We're also now considering it's Cat Trick, and that seems to be the case. We haven't seen Snake coming out. We haven't seen Freezing come out. I haven't tested his face, so it still could be explosive, and we can afford to. But we're definitely holding a lot of spells. We're also talking so they can hear us a little bit. But we want to make sure that as we're testing the trap, we're able to also answer the trap, and that's causing us to kind of play through some awkward turns.
Gotcha. Gallon here on turn 4 himself. Definitely got a few options. Can you talk it through them over?
Yeah. So there's pretty much 3 options that we have right here. we could bow the 4-2 and then just go face with our 3-3. That doesn't seem that great. Infested Wolf also is just not amazing in this position. So I feel like if we hit Barnes and we hit like a good minion, we'll actually be like way ahead on board. We should have like a very good chance of winning this game.
Barnes coming out for Gallon, and they do roll one of the more useless cards, the Houndmaster. Doesn't have any sort of benefits from being pulled off Barnes. Barnes is usually really good at pulling, well, it gets the most value when it pulls out Death Rattles or minions that have an immediate effect, such as Ragnaros.
Yeah, so basically here, actually, I mean, we're going to innervate first and see if it's a cut trick.
All right, yeah, this is actually a really tough turn here. There's a lot of things to do, especially when you have Innervate. I think a lot of players, when they have Innervate in their hand, they're not taking their time enough. This is a really, really tough turn for them, and I'm actually going to let them think about it. There's a question of how many of your resources to use and which ones you use. They are going to go for the war here. And are they going to use any of their spells is the question. Looks like they are. Oh, they're going to actually make some minions here. And those actually, usually you don't normally play roots for minions here, but these end up trading pretty well next turn.
Yeah, so pretty much any card in our deck is playable in the next turn. So unless we get an Arcane Giant, we can play that. So we're pretty happy with the current situation. But if we get another Arcane Giant, we're doomed.
So one of the things that happened between turn 5 and turn 6 is our perception of their deck changed from basically being more of a face hunter to a pretty traditional secret hunter, and that helped with seeing Barnes pull out a Houndsmaster. So we're wanting to look to answer more secrets now. I'm actually happy that I popped the cat trick without a bow coming out, so I'm not giving them that additional value. I also feel really good about this 5/10, which I'm not going to run into a freezing trap.
Now this Ancient of War is going to look like it's going to hold pretty sturdy here.
All right, so with the Ancient of War up there, it doesn't give me a good play on the board right now. So what I want to do is throw out an Eagle Horn bow, and just get rid of it, because that's a big taunt to deal with.
Well, you're going to have to get rid of it eventually, and the question is, I mean, you had to invest a lot of resources into it, so it is actually going to be pretty hard for Hunter to kind of regain some sort of momentum here. The Hunter usually is forced to be the aggressive deck. If the Druid gets the late game, the Druid typically has a very strong advantage.
Yeah, so right now, as we said, any draw was playable, and we got one of the best in Azure Drake. We know that our opponent has no explosive trap, since he would have played it. So we can just create a good board, set up for a Ragnaros, and yeah, just have a lot of minions out. And when you play against a hunter, like if you kill them before they can kill you, it's a very good strategy, because you force them into the defensive, so they cannot be aggressive themselves.
One of the things that was important there was also we want to be really careful about taking too many risks in the position we're in. So I placed positionally my Azure Drake on the far right, and that's to watch out if he's playing a explosive shot. I wouldn't want to lose a core minion as well as the additional supporting tokens I have.
Oh, that's an interesting consideration. I mean, do you play Arena?
Little bit.
All right, that's typically something that an Arena player would bring up immediately. As a Constructed player, even as experienced and accomplished as I am, I don't even think about explosive shot, because it's like nobody in Constructed ever actually runs that. But that's actually really cool.
So we're in a really bad spot here. Now, there's only one good play. It's just to kill the 4/1 and play a Savannah High main. I would put our expected win rate here at less than 5%, but we're going to still take that 5%.
That's pretty dire there, yeah. Druid definitely took back that game with the Ancient of War. I mean, Ancient of War, if you don't have a Deadly Shot for it, or, I mean, even that spot, Deadly Shot wouldn't have been a really good response either, because he did play the roots. Oh, right, well, actually, that was actually a huge reason for playing the roots. He did play around the Deadly Shot.
Yeah, so here we play Rag because if it hits face, we kill our opponent next turn. We have the option of going for the lethal just now, but there's no reason to do it because Hunter is not able to heal, and if Ragnaros misses, we're able to Moonfire the Hyenas. So although some players claim that you have to Moonfire, actually you spotted it before me. Teammate spotted it before me. So yeah, so actually now we're happy about it, and we don't have to use the Moonfire preemptively because there's no combination of cards that kill us or make the Hunter survive the next turn.
All right, very well thought out turn there by Deathlord. He could have gone for the 50-50 lethal, but the thing is, if he misses the Rag shot to the face, then he would have wanted to use the Moonfire for something else. So very, very careful planning there. He calculated that there was no way that the Hunter had enough burst damage to kill him from 26.
So we have a very small chance of winning this game, but we still actually have a chance. If we Houndmaster or High Main, play Animal Companion, and he has no direct burn to our face, there is a very slight percentage that we can still win the game if we go face with our High Main and maybe either get the Misha or Huffer, you know, and we just try to kill him as quickly as possible. So we're gonna Houndmaster our High Main and play Animal Companion here.
Even though Galen's down to his last ropes, they're still going to play to their outs. And that's the mark of a true Hearthstone professional. Even when everything looks dour, if you do have that 1%, 2%, 3% chance to win, you still got to play for it. You can't give up.
I feel like that was a good draw from the Animal Companion. It gave us a taunt, help protect our face. So if he doesn't have the burn, then it gives us that 1 or 2% chance, like you said.
Yeah, so basically we saved the Moonfire just for this case. Yeah, we're just gonna end the game. We're not gonna do some fancy stuff here.
All right, and there you have it. Team Deathlore will take all 3 games of today's series. And, you know, it's not about who wins or loses here. You know, the important thing is that our students all learned some very valuable Hearthstone lessons. And we'll go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll go on to some final words with both our coaches and players.
Hold on, guys, though. Before we want to cut to commercial, I want to thank, I'm William with Gamer Sensei, and I want to thank everybody who was here today playing in the games. So as a reward for being students in this epic match, we're going to give both of you guys Acer Predator backpacks as a big thank you. It's from Newegg, so obviously huge thanks to Newegg as well. And thank you again. It was a real pleasure getting to see you guys play those games, and I certainly had a lot of fun sitting out in the audience. So congrats on your prizes. We have the other one for you. Oh, you're all set? And again, guys, thank you so much for watching the Gamer Sensei Coaching exhibition matches. We're cutting to commercial now, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes with a how to build a VR rig competition.